This week's episode is brought to you by Body Scare. All natural body care products so good, they're scary.
What's going on?
Hello and welcome back to an all-new Zompire Horde podcast where my computer is broken, so I have no idea what the fuck is going on. But today is an odd day. It's a Sunday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon here in the Seattle area, and we have a show to do.
We do. What is this show, Vlad?
This show, we are going to have some guests on. They're showing up right now. They're in the car on the way. Let's add them to the stream. There they are.
Here we
Hello.
are.
The Addams family. Welcome.
This should be a little better. Thanks, you guys.
Oh my gosh, this is so awesome.
I love it.
Hey guys.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
This is awesome.
Oh, and we got Lulu here.
There you go.
Oh,
We got the whole family.
Lulu's in the house.
Sorry about that. This is awesome.
We usually go live Monday nights at 7 o'clock, so this is a little new for us, even doing a Sunday afternoon show. But as soon as we found out we had the opportunity to get you guys on, it was like a no-brainer.
Yeah, for sure.
We were all fortunate, or at least I was enough to meet you guys at the Seattle CryptoCon.
Thanks for coming.
This will go off though, won't it?
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
We're just technically trying to get it so
the car,
because the car needs to shut off, and then we go from the phone.
What's the matter you?
Yeah,
Take your time.
bunch of clowns. But now you guys know.
Or we could just do the whole show while you're in the car. I mean, that would be fun.
That's fine too.
You're telling me you guys can make the best horror movie of 2021, but you can't get on the podcast? Jesus Christ.
Hey man.
Use some of those powers that we saw in Hellbender. Come on, what's going on?
Yeah. I was doing the hand thing.
Right?
You gotta put one hand.
So for anyone that doesn't know, the Addams family are the ones who brought us the amazing 2021 movie Hellbender. If you haven't seen it, it is available on Shudder, and I highly recommend that you go see it if you haven't. I just wanted to say one thing real quick before we jump into everything. One of the things I loved about Hellbender is, and I mean this like with the utmost respect and everything, I feel like Hellbender, if there was no audio, I could watch that whole movie and know from beginning to end the entire story without having to hear anything. And I wanted to say that was such a cool thing because a lot of times with movies, it jumps around a lot and you don't really you have to listen to get the story. The whole time I was watching, I was like, I could turn the volume off and I understand everything that's going on in this film. And I think that that's a real, like, blue ribbon for you guys because there's not a lot of movies that could do that.
And I want to add on to that. Not only could you really just like get the whole story visually, but the fucking visuals were goddamn beautiful. What the fuck? Like, where the fuck did you guys film this movie? It was
in New York, probably like in your guys' backyard or something.
Jesus Christ, it's so goddamn beautiful. And I'm sorry, like I'm gonna press that this whole fucking episode. It's one of the most beautiful movies I've ever seen. It's visually.
Well, I agree. I'm a huge
It's
woods hag myself, and those are such beautiful forests. I could spend hours, days, weeks just exploring them.
Yeah, just watching Zelda walk through the fucking forest, I was like, that's all we need. Just film the forest. Like it was beautiful. In the music scenes when you guys were playing like in the basement of your house or wherever, like the makeup on your faces, it just got more intense and better through like each time.
I thought the makeup was really cool. That was one thing that stood out to me as well.
Yeah. Such a
Okay.
visually stunning movie. Great
Now
job,
let's
guys.
hear from our guest. Jesus, guys. Piling
Just
it
shut up,
on.
Patrick.
No, you
I'm sorry.
leaves us less room to fuck up.
I'm done. I'm done praising you guys. Continue.
But so I just wanted to bring that up, but I'm glad that they brought up all those other things because it is true.
Oh, thank you so much.
Have to give credit some to where we live, but also some to where you live,
Oh,
because we did shoot a lot of it where we live in the Catskills of New York, but also it was during like the heat of the pandemic, so we got to travel across and see Lulu in the Pacific Northwest, and so it was still green there when
right.
it was, naked branches and winter over here. So we did a little cheating that way. So we shot some of those in like the beautiful like Oregon and Washington forests.
Nice.
I thought some of it was shot in the Pacific Northwest for sure.
I did not know that.
I was a little curious. I knew that you guys were in New York, and I know Lulu's in Oregon. But so a lot of those images, like from New York, reminded me of Oregon and vice versa, which is weird because typically on the East Coast, we have the pine trees and things like that we don't have here. But if I wouldn't have guessed, I wouldn't have been able to guess where it was filmed, which is a good thing.
That's fine.
Thank you.
I did want to wait, what was my question? Oh yeah, Zelda. By the way, I love that you wear Sambas. It's my favorite shoe in the world. I saw him in the movie.
Yes.
I saw him in the movie, and I looked up a picture of I was like making the advertisement for this show, and I saw a picture of you at like a award show or something, and you were wearing the exact same like that color, pinkish reddish Sambas, and I was like, man, me and Zelda are probably like best friends in some other realm because we both love Sambas.
Identical shoe twins.
In this realm. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, now Lisa.
That's right.
Thanks where thanks is due, because these parents have raised me and Lulu to wear kick ass. Yeah.
I just walked through. We always
Are from Sweet Toby, and they got handed down to Lulu, and then I stole them from Lulu. So yeah.
There you go.
That's
that.
awesome.
Ever got in trouble, it was in the morning, and it's like, why aren't you wearing your fucking soccer shoes?
One of the things I actually
We had conversations, Vlad, you and I, about Adidas, because I was wearing an Adidas that looked like a ghost.
that's
And-
right.
And it's like we bonded over Adidas early.
That's right. And now we know we're both from Baltimore, so we're even bigger besties. I did want to ask you a question. John, you wrote the film, right?
No, I didn't write the film. Actually, we always just all write together.
Okay.
And
Yep. Yeah, the
Yep.
credits, it's like just 4 names, like on everything. I love it.
yeah, everything's really done together. And that's what's fun about it. And I think that's at least what's interesting to me about it is because the girls bring a different generation's view. They bring a different gender's view. Toby brings a viewpoint. I bring a viewpoint. And I think together we're pretty respectful of each other's viewpoints. And I think that we boil them up in a soup together. And
A cauldron.
a cauldron together. And
cauldron.
I like the spell.
One of the elements that I kind of noticed in the film was that it seemed like somebody had taken a little bit of that movie, The Cell, with Vince Vaughn and what's her name? Jennifer Lopez. There was elements of that film that I felt kind of translated in your film. There was a point where Zelda's playing the drums and she has the black makeup over her eyes with the crown, and that really reminded me of the I can't remember his name, the evil character, we'll say, from The Cell. Yeah, Vincent D'Onofrio. Yeah, it reminded me of that. And there was a couple other that I can't think of off the top of my head that kind of reminded me of The Cell for some reason. And I wasn't sure if that was something that, was explained earlier or just something that kind of manifested in the filming.
I've
never seen The Cell, but now I'm going to watch it. That sounds
Yeah, I didn't feel like I didn't like connect the dots with The Cell while watching it, but now that you mention it, like the visuals in The Cell and the visuals in Hellbender are pretty similar.
That's what I wanted to say was the cinematography, the kind of like the dream sequences or whatever. Were very similar to The Cell, as well as that crown though. That crown is what really tipped me off to it.
Oh, that's cool.
So I
Definitely.
encourage you guys watch it because it's a fantastic movie. It came out in like 2001, I think.
Nice.
But it's like a psychological thriller. It's awesome.
Have you seen it, Lulu?
No, I haven't seen it. But I thought that for us, do you remember what the influence was? Wasn't there some like kind of mix of like Kurt Cobain or like Joan Jett and the Black Hearts kind of mix, or who did we get that?
Oh,
influence?
the band itself, you mean?
Yeah, the band and the makeup style.
I don't know, but I was going to tell you, if you guys ever record a record, I will buy it because I
Yes,
like
me
all
too.
the music. I loved all the music that you guys
It
had.
was
in
really
that
awesome.
movie.
I was like, this is such a kick-ass soundtrack.
Right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, album. Is that what a record is? What's the difference between a record and a?
Well, it's nice that you guys say that because Zelda just laid down 3 more tracks of a whole bunch of tracks that Lulu had sung on out when we were just with Lulu. And we're putting together our second album for like the movie that's coming out next is called Where the Devil Roams.
Ooh.
And we're just kind of buttoning up the soundtrack on it. And it's such a pleasure to work with the ladies. I think we got a pretty sick, heavy album coming out here.
I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, keep us posted on that.
Salamander.
Absolutely.
There was a salamander called a hell.
There is.
And I was like, dude, that's the coolest looking salamander I've ever seen. It's like this big.
Big boy.
You know what's so funny? We knew that the film was going to be called Hellbender, so there was a scene where we wanted to like do a scene with Izzy, like holding like a little salamander thing, and I was such a little. Can I curse on this? I don't know.
Of course you can.
Yeah.
I cuss like a fucking sailor.
Scared to like play with the salamander, but because I didn't like want to hurt it, and like I was scared like touching it would hurt the salamander. So
Aww.
I'm not at all in real life.
Yeah, it was funny. We wanted her to look at it kind of like with a little bit of evilness, and all she looked at it with was worry.
Oh, that's precious. I love that.
It's
Okay,
funny. Kobe's vegan.
We've taken some time to like really kind of just like praise how great of a job you did. But for the people who are watching that might not really know kind of what your movie is, can we kind of go into like for them what a Hellbender is and kind of what what the story is without giving too much away because we want them to watch it, right? But a little detail on what a Hellbender is and what the movie's about.
Toby, you're the best at explaining.
Yeah, Toby's good at it.
Yeah.
Well, a Hellbender is a cross between a demon, an apex predator, and a witch, is how we describe it in the film. It's actually the only time we use the word witch in the film. Often the people describe the film as about a mother and daughter who have ties to witchcraft. But we think there's something beyond just your typical witch. They're more like an apex predator in a female form. And and they like the taste of blood.
Of fear, isn't it fear?
Yeah.
Fear in the blood. Yes.
Yeah, they live isolated on a mountaintop, which is actually where we do live. And the mother's trying to keep the daughter from the world, and you come to realize, is it really to protect the world from the daughter? Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And like the idea of like feeding on the fear that's in blood. I think that we wanted to kind of just like talk about the fear of women, the fear of embracing your identity, the fear of power. Like, is power an identity? Like, is that a good thing or a bad thing? And that's something that I think Izzy and the mother are facing in this film and questioning.
Also, throughout history, witches have been burned because of the knowledge they have that's outside of the system. Basically, witches have been punks. And like the more punk a woman was 300 years ago in the woods because she understood the alchemy of berries or something like that, the more the church and the the classic architecture was scared deathly of her because it made all their myths not true. And that gave them fear. And so we really wanted to play on the idea that is what fear made those those women in the past powerful, and so why not make that kind of connection of them sucking the fear out of blood to make them powerful? So we're kind of playing with those classic ideas.
They're owning that power through others' fear of them,
right?
Which is fun.
That was one of the things that I loved about the film was actually the intro. It's one of my favorite intros to a film because at first I don't watch trailers. I usually will just jump into a movie. And so I didn't really know what Hellbender was about. And to be fair, I really thought it was a zombie movie because the woman hanging, in the beginning who gets shot and hung and all these things. And they're just sitting there wiggling. And I'm like, that's a fucking zombie. And then the coolest part of it all is when she shoots up in the flames. It was like it was such a cool opening. And so thank you for that. But I swear I thought it was a zombie movie at first.
That scene was so freaking fun to shoot because there were so many moving parts to it. One, all those women were friends and family. I think my grandma was in that, my young cousin, my fellow soccer player's mom, like
a bunch of soccer players and a bunch of soccer players' moms.
So awesome.
It was so powerful and feminine. And then for the special effects, we got a lot of help from our special effects guy, Trey, who's incredible. But also we went into our backyard and John created this great fake body. And John and I basically were hanging out, just playing with this wooden fake body and lighting it on fire, fucking
gouging. It was
hoping not
playing.
to burn the
It
forest
was
down.
playing with napalm. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Lulu, I have a question. What was it like getting choked and eaten by your sister?
Zelda, I think that I could say that was one of Zelda's favorite scenes. Little bastard. It was honestly just really fun because Zelda and I don't really have that dynamic. We don't really have such anger and violence like that. We were ones to wrestle each other. That is true though. But it wasn't something that we would do. So it was kind of fun getting to play something very different because part of that, we're friends and we're getting along and I am her older sister. And in that scene where we first meet, I also am that older kid who's interested in. And so that felt really comfortable and we just got to kind of mostly hang out as we do. But so I think that scene was playful and really fun because it was very different than our dynamic. And it was kind of in a way, a fight scene. And that's not something we do.
Right.
And it was really funny. It was really funny. Zelda's had that smirk that we needed for the salamander scene.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit. And it was that. It was just funny, honestly. Yeah. It was great. And Zelda's, I think, taller than me now. I think you were then when we shot it, too. Or you were just starting to get taller than me. And I was and so Zelda's choking me actually down below. And I was
oh. Somebody pointed out something interesting about that scene. And I thought it was really cool, and maybe we should say that we meant it. In that scene, Lulu shows no fear, so she doesn't get killed and eaten in that scene.
Huh.
Oh yeah. I remember planning that.
And
you totally meant that.
Yeah.
Lulu's what's fun about that is because Lulu is not a shit taker, and so it really played into that moment. But also, when somebody pointed that out, they're like, "Oh, it's so cool that you didn't have Lulu get killed the first time because she didn't show any fear." I was like, "Yep,
Yeah, that's what we meant.
Yeah.
I love it when people tell us what our movies are about. Sometimes people say something so smart, and I'm like,
"Yep,
yeah,
that's it,
nailed it."
Feel it. I will say, I think sometimes we get good karma from the universe and nature because. I do think that we treat her right in our films and give her a little starlight. So I think sometimes she gives back to us with universal things putting that into our storyline or leaving us little gifts to create a scene around, So yeah. So true.
I love everything about that.
Yeah.
We living in the rural where we live, there's a lot of roadkill. So our previous film, the film before Hellbender, was The Deeper You Dig, and we use a lot of roadkill in that. And it's sort of and in Hellbender, there's the scene with with the deer carcass. We were just out scouting another scene when we came across this whole deer carcass, like so beautifully, neatly picked.
Yeah.
And like we're lucky because within the hour we could be back with the camera and our clothing, our wardrobe. Yeah, nature is always giving us gifts. Yeah. To the extent that often we just let her kind of tell us what to do a lot of the time because of a cloud or a roadkill, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Love it. I have I know we're here to talk about Hellbender, but can we go back? You said your previous film, Deeper You Dig. I have not seen that. Is there somewhere I can like stream that or purchase that and take a look at that? I would love to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, on Shudder, but it's also on Amazon and iTunes or Apple, whatever it's called.
Google Play, I think.
So it's on Shudder right now?
It is.
Perfect. Well, I know what I'm watching soon.
Well, how many movies have you made?
I'm sure remember recognize a lot of places. Let us know
Yep.
if you do, because we serial shoot a lot of places.
I think we're at 8 now, 8 or 9.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Rumble Strips, Knuckle Jack, The Shoot, Halfway to Zen, Deeper You Dig, The Hatred, Hellbender,
Where the devil roams.
Where the Devil Roams, and
Oh, and
Hellhole.
Wait, what
But-
was the
9.
what was the Jack one again?
Knuckle Jack.
Yeah,
Like
I need to
the-
know what that's about.
That's a fun
Oh,
movie
no.
about a broken man who needs to take care of his niece, and
They get up to no good. and
they
it's
get up
super
to no
fun.
good. And
Okay.
it's a movie about broken people and kind of the heroism of broken people, even if they remain broken.
Okay.
It's our first 4 films, including Knuckle Jack, were all dramas, and I think it's really cool because since our first film, Rumble Strips, you can watch our films as they evolve and change, and also get bloodier and darker and more fun. But it's really
Yeah.
Go ahead, Pat.
I was just say, yeah, bloody and dark. It's definitely fun, right?
Well-
Go ahead.
our first film, Rumble Strips, was actually meant to be a ghost story, a pretty violent ghost story, in which the kids get killed. And so we started shooting it. Zelda was 6 and Lulu was 11. This was our first film, and we just kind of set out in an old RV for a year. We homeschooled them, and we shot this movie. And we started shooting it as written as a ghost story. But before anything bad went down, and we kept putting that off and putting it off. And one day we're driving, John just like, man, I just don't think I want to kill the kids. I'm like, I don't want to kill the kids either. Films to get to the place where we could kill the kids. Lulu.
Yeah. But basically, what we realized is that, once we made our first horror movie, which was The Hatred, and we did it more as an experiment to see, do we like doing this? We realized that artistically, we just have so much more freedom, and it's so much more fun to create horror movies than dramas. Dramas, you're kind of like anchored down to reality. And once we got into the horror movies, there was kind of no turning back.
Yeah,
Right.
and also the community rocks. Like, they're all so nice and so welcoming and so smart. Like, it feels like family.
The
yeah,
the
totally.
3 of us were actually guests on a podcast yesterday, and that's one of the things that we brought up was, especially like, we met Lulu and you guys at Crypticon in Seattle, where the 3 of us, work every year, and how like, the horror community kind of has this underdog mentality. And so it's real easy to, when you're around someone who loves horror, you have an immediate connection. No matter what else you have going on in your life, you can sit and talk about horror movies all day long. But that community with itself is much smaller than, a lot of the other like comedy and, action films kind of. And so that we have kind of like a more of a family type atmosphere than, a lot of the other genres of films.
Well, and that's what I like. The other genres of films aren't a culture. Horror is a culture.
True.
And I love that. It's like you were saying, Vlad, it's a family. It's a way of life. Like
It is a lifestyle. I mean, look at how our homes are decorated. I don't see like comedy people decorating their homes like with freaking comedy stuff, whatever that would be. I don't know what that would be.
Yeah, I
Adam
just
Sandler photos.
Right?
Somehow,
I mean, I've got done shit in every room.
It's good security when people show up at your house and you have like a big antichrist hanging out on your porch.
Mhm,
Oh my
mhm.
god.
Exactly. Yeah, there's people that won't come over.
One of the things I did want to bring up, and I thought was actually Michelle the Dead here is a special effects artist, and one of the coolest scenes that I thought was actually that key coming out of the
Yes,
hand.
I wanted to
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about that. That was such a freaking
Talk about
cool
it, Michelle.
idea. I've never seen any like concept like that done before. That's such a good idea. I just love that. I was like, when that happened, I was like, oh, that's so rad! Oh my god! Oh my
And as
god!
someone
I
who's
also
not
collect skeleton keys, so I got excited.
someone who's not a special effects guy, like I don't know anything about it. It looked real as shit. It looked really good. I thought,
Right.
if that means
That's-
anything.
friend Trey, who's basically our 5th family member because he's been with us since the beginning of the horror, and he is the kind of artist and friend you want to hang out with because he's always positive, he always gives 100%, and he is super creative. And you know, we wanted to show that like the truth comes from within these ladies. Like you cannot deny it. Like the mother's trying to hide something from her daughter, but there's no way she can because it's in her DNA and it's gonna come out. And that's so we wanted to use the key as a metaphor for that. And
I love that.
Trey made it come to visualization, and everybody loves that. And that's all Trey. He's a beautiful artist.
And he like, do you think about giving the things that you're working on, like personality? Like he gave that key a fucking like personality.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It
I
doesn't just go. It has a little like wiggle and like
Yeah. I think anytime you create art, you put a little piece of yourself into it anyway. So that was really awesome. I enjoyed it.
He's a young. He's Toby and I's age, but he has this young heart that always comes through in his art. He's also a horror aficionado. Like he's an encyclopedia of every single horror movie. He's
Oh, nice.
really
Love it.
Maybe he'll have to come on and do a trivia with you, Vlad.
He can
Yeah,
try.
trivia
He can
time.
try.
Oh, is that a challenge?
He can
I hear a
try.
challenge.
Shalom.
I'd pay to see that.
You can watch for free. We'll do it here on the
Well, I
podcast.
wanna pay.
We do game nights some night on the
Yes.
podcast where we do trivia or we do Would You Rather. So trivia ones are some of my favorite.
Mhm.
I think we
haven't
should
lost
set it
yet.
up.
All right. I feel like that is a worthy opponent. So
Link him up with you.
Yeah, that would be fun. I did want to ask too, since we were talking about family, what does it mean to you guys to be able to really, I mean, it's not it is your life because you're filming these movies together, but to have it documented in such a way, what does that mean to you guys to be able to do that, especially as parents doing it with your kids, you know, and you're leaving like kind of like a legacy, you know what I mean, together. And I think that's super cool and important. But talk about it.
I mean, really, because I mean, what fucking like, lucky thing that we get to hang with our kids. We get to learn this craft that we've learned together since 2010, intergenerationally. You know,
Yeah.
We're every film we learn something new, so we have to speed to the next one to use what we've learned, and to do it next to each other and have each other's ideas all thrown into the cauldron. But mostly just like hanging out and then getting to do things like Crypticon and go to festivals. It's like artistically and life and habitually, just like as a life practice, getting to do that together is like, I couldn't ask for a greater thing. I'm super grateful for it.
Definitely.
It's also fun because, these are diaries of our life.
Right.
Each movie is, like, for example, we were talking about Knuckle Jack before. You know, Knuckle Jack's, a lot of it's me working out my drug addiction. Like I had quit doing drugs and that's what Knuckle Jack's about. And it's about a young kid helping a broken guy with some stuff. The last movie that we just did is called Where the Devil Roams, and it's about a family finally breaking apart because they can't stay together anymore. And it's like, that is exactly what we're going through. So in a way, these horror movies have been a way, and before that, the dramas, but the horror movies are more fun because the psychoses that we get to work through aren't as obvious. Like, at least in horror,
Right.
we can hide it in blood and guts and bones. And it's just a fun way for us all to keep this crazy diary together. I don't know
Right.
what the girls, like Lulu, what do you think about that?
I love it too. Yeah, I'm definitely, I mean, that's what I studied in school. So I love all the psychology of stuff. And definitely, I love all the imagery and kind of analogies, like alluding to things. And there are many things to pick about in Hellbender, but it's nice with all those different like imagery things and psychologically hidden. A lot of people, like we were saying, will notice things we didn't even do on purpose, but they'll find something that is like relevant to them. They'll be like, oh, that reminds me of processing this horrible part of myself, or this part of myself that I was like judging myself for, because there's the idea, like this concept John was talking about, like the wolf of like, do you hate the wolf for doing what it naturally does?
Right.
And so there's that same thing, and people have those things with themselves that they might hate about themselves, and maybe people find like a relation to that. It's much more easy to grab those and then be like, this is what we're talking about. It reaches like a broader audience, I think, and it feels a lot more personal and deep and open to however the fuck you want to think it is.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Agreed.
Also, as a parent, I know that Toby and I both, we didn't want to have daughters. We wanted to have friends.
Mhm.
And this is a way to have friends. You sit around, you're equals, you make movies, you wait on clouds, you talk about scenes.
Yeah.
Everybody's opinion matters as everybody else's. It's like, it's just a good way to like zen in the art of horror making,
Well, I think that
Right.
the opportunity you guys have, like for the bonding experience, most parents, go to work for 9 hours a day. Their kids are in school, so they come home at night and it's do your homework, eat dinner, watch TV, go to bed. So it's a very mundane, daily regimen for them. And so it's cool that you guys are able to do something artistic all together, and make and actually spend like a different type of quality time together than a lot of families get. I think that's special and should be, applauded.
Yeah, and we also get to travel. Like
Right.
all the schools that we've been to, we got to travel to all these different places. We're over in Canada, we're over down here, we're in Spain. And I think that's another cool thing, is like you're traveling with a purpose. And our
Right.
first movie was awesome because it didn't even matter if we were in school or not, because we were homeschooled for our first movie.
You're like, yeah, family vacation.
Yeah, we were living in an RV, driving all across the country, making up our own curriculum. Like,
Oh, I love that.
we liked school. At least I know I really liked it. And we would film. When we were done, we'd go play pickup soccer in a field somewhere. And then we'd go shoot a bow and arrow. And so, I mean, that was like the epitome of like having your parents at home.
That's
That
so
sounds like the
rad.
best childhood ever.
Yeah. No,
It
that's
really does.
fantastic.
So what you said that you guys just filmed another one? Is that what you're saying? And what's that called?
Devil Roams. It takes place in Depression era America, and it's about a family of sideshow performers who do a little murder on when they're not performing on stages. And
You have that side hustle.
A little murder on the side.
Yeah, there's a lot of music in this one too. We had so much fun with it. We like to say it's kind of a cross between Frankenstein, Bonnie and Clyde, and The Grapes of Wrath.
Oh.
It's dusty, and it's our most brutal film for sure, but also our most loving. Like the two extremes here are playing big time. And we are so fucking excited to get it out there. It's going to premiere at the end of July, probably at Fantasia Film Festival, which is where we've premiered all our horror films up in Montreal.
Okay.
Nice.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, sideshow and murder on the side. I'm stoked. Sign me up.
Right?
Yeah, it's super fun, and it was great because
I was born into the wrong family. God.
Are the Adams adopting?
I mean, seriously, are we too old to adopt?
Fast, like we're open for adoption.
I think we're too old to be adopted.
I'm quiet.
for
You
yourself.
won't even notice I'm around.
Oh God.
When
I like. Oh, go ahead.
No, you're
No,
good.
you go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like with Hellbender, I've felt a lot of parallels between the movie and what, a mother-daughter relationship. I have two daughters, and it's kind of cool, like the bonding and like the underlying kind of unhappiness. So I don't know. I thought it was really cool. There's a lot of parallels there.
I'm glad you said that because we really wanted to show not just mother-daughter, but parental child relationships are complex and often hypocritical. But often parents hide things because they're frightened.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a coming of age story, not only for Izzy in Hellbender, but also for the mother who has to evolve as well. And it's just fun. We really we challenged ourselves to show certain familial, things, but squeeze through the lens of horror. Like, for instance, like I used to hide my weed in the very same little ceramic thing that the mother hides her maggots to get high off of in Hellbender. And and I used to hide it from my kids. I don't smoke weed anymore, but I used to. And so I was like, oh, this is something that I want the Hellbender mom to do as well.
Right.
That's awesome. So it's like tradition is being carried forth in film as well. I love it. Family tradition at Rocks.
Yeah. I'm gonna move this because I think my phone's getting
hot. I did want to say too, and I think Patty will want to jump in on this one. Zelda's like, what do you call it, Pat? Like body horror or whatever. Like her mannerisms and how she carried herself throughout the film felt really authentic. In comparison to like now, like how I see you now, like you it looked like you really got into that character. So thank you, because I think it made the film that much better. But was that something that like you pulled from the inside, or was it just your acting skills? Like, where did that come from?
Well, first of all, thank you so much. That is so kind of you. I feel really lucky because in this role, I feel like I got to kind of just like be myself. I got to, a daughter who is really close with her mom and who is like going through something new. Like, I felt really bonded to Izzy because, we filmed this during the pandemic, and that was a time where I was pretty isolated. I was, homeschooled because of COVID and everything. And that was a time where I was like, oh my God, what is the world doing, outside of my little bubble right now? I miss that. And I kind of want to go out and explore what's going on, but also maybe it's safe here on the little mountain I'm on. So I really just tried to embrace that parallel of like what I was going through like in real life, and just bring that into the character. And also I think, especially in the scenes with Toby, like I felt so comfortable with her.
Right.
It was like hardest to act was when I actually had to be like a little salty to you.
Did you feel like giggling when you were doing that?
What was that?
Did you have to stifle a lot of giggles when you had to do that?
Oh,
because I would be laughing my ass off.
That wasn't rude enough. That wasn't like strong enough. I'm like, I can't be mean to my mom.
One of the scenes you can tell that how close you guys are is actually the steps when she sits in your kind of like in your lap and you're kind of playing with her hair and stuff. Like you can actually tell that there's a real connection there, that wasn't just two people acting in front of a camera, and so that scene, and also the scene,
I love that scene
at the very end, that like kind of smirk you have on your face when you're telling your mom you're going to town and does she need anything, like that end scene when you did that was like, I just that smirk on your face and everything. I was like, yes, she's going to town.
There's another part of the movie too where like the benefits of a family working together. And we've been talking about it. It's screen chemistry, right? Some actors and actresses don't have it in films, and it's harder to see that. But when Izzy and Amber are becoming friends throughout the movie, the chemistry between you two, like you could feel the friendship bonding, right? Like you could feel it. and it was stronger than like if you guys didn't know each other outside of like if you just auditioned for the movie and you got the part, each of you, and you had to act to become friends. Like, but this you already love each other, right, in real life. So
Presumably.
the chemistry, or do you? I hate you. The chemistry there, it just shows on the screen throughout the whole movie. Mother-daughter relationship, you know, the friends meeting. I just loved how everything felt like the authentic relationships that you guys have definitely come through in your acting in the movies, and I love it.
Yeah.
So
Except
Yeah, Lulu's character in this movie, like Lulu brought something to this movie that other movies, because she's been gone a little bit, so we couldn't use her as much in like The Deeper You Dig. She brings a punk rock beauty to this movie that I think shoots it to the moon, and that's basically what you're addressing is like, you know, the only reason that Zelda's character, that shy, kind of quirky, kind of stiff character, works so well is because it's put up against Lulu's complete punk rock physicality and like, fucking hey, let's drink and let's like break over private property and we don't give a fuck. It's really great because it just is juxtaposed against this kid who's just getting out of the egg.
right.
And Lulu's character is obviously this towny punk that's been out of the egg for a long time. And
Yeah. Well, I think Amber's third line was like, "You want a beer?" She's like, "I'm just here to party."
Are you gonna come watching, or are you gonna come join me? Yeah.
Yeah, and then you find out that it's not even your house.
It's not even I don't live here. That was
Dude.
awesome.
I will say, John, they killed you off a little quick for my liking. I think Uncle should have been around a little bit longer, but
it was a worthy death scene.
it was a worthy death
It
scene. I
was-
will give it that.
It was fucking awesome.
I love that death scene, and I like to kill myself fast so I don't have to look at my.
You like being on the other side of the camera.
Yeah, I just want the ladies are great. I love editing them. I fucking hate editing myself. So I'm always like, okay, I get killed in the first 15 minutes.
Then I don't got to deal with myself no more.
Score.
Exactly.
That's how I would want to be too. Just get me out of here. Like, get me on screen, kill me off, and I'm out.
Yeah. So, so you have a new movie coming out. Do you have plans to be making anything here in the near future? Are you guys working on some stuff?
Yeah, we are working on our next Addams Family film this summer, which we are all so excited about, and we're also going to be shooting it in upstate New York. And
Nice.
yeah, I think that'll be fun.
Yeah, Lulu's coming our way, and we're gonna hit this one slightly more unusual than we usually film, because usually we kind of are laissez-faire about our shooting schedule. But Lulu's coming home, and before she goes to Scotland, we're gonna bang out this movie. Probably shoot like most of it in about 2 weeks, right, Lou?
Yeah, about 2-3 weeks.
Nice. I'm excited to see what you
Okay.
guys have coming out. One of the things that I've noticed is how high praise you guys have gotten for Hellbender, and I think it's much well deserved. I've been watching horror movies for a very, very, very long time, and I'm not surprised by a lot anymore, but I was really pleasantly surprised by how well this film was done, and the writing, the acting, the scenery. The cut scenes, like all of it was just really well put together. So as a horror fan who kind of is getting sick of the same shit over and over, I really appreciated what you guys were able to put on film for us. I think it needs to be like blasted all over the place, because, I want everyone to see this.
That's nice of you.
Means so much to us. Really, it did. Thank you.
Thank you.
If somebody has Creep Show tattooed on their forehead, they've been watching horror a long ass time.
It's true.
Hey, I do not have Creepshow tattooed on my forehead, but I've been watching horror for just as long.
Fair enough. So I did want to ask actually too. You guys said that you do have kind of a band. Do you have a name for this band?
Watch out, here comes Toby's boob.
Oh, it's actually called Hellbender. Okay,
For ease.
I like it. I like it.
Sixes. Got the
I like
triple sticks.
Yes.
Because I'm gonna need to know when the album drops. Because I'm being dead serious when I said I liked every song you guys did in the movie. Like I was like, dude, I need an album of this. And so when I watched the credits and saw that it was actually you guys doing it, I was like that much more excited about today.
Well, our songs are on Spotify and I think iTunes as well and some other platforms, right?
Yeah.
It looks like I got me a new ringtone.
What that Ship to Shore put out.
I'm sorry, say that again.
The vinyl that Ship to Shore put out as well.
Oh, okay.
But
You can
digitally you can hear it.
Yeah, and we
Yeah.
have a couple of music videos too.
What?
YouTube? Dude, no way. I'm just got I got goosebumps thinking about going to YouTube after this.
Yeah, I got homework later.
Yep, it's on iTunes.
Noise.
So for anyone that
found it.
doesn't know, what films do you have available currently and where can we watch them?
Sure. Okay. Well, our website is wonderwheelproductions.com, and you can check out trailers for all of our films on there. But all of them are available on like Amazon, our older ones. But our horror films, The Deeper You Dig and Hellbender, are on
Shudder.
iTunes and Amazon and Shudder. Most of those like outlets. And then Where the Devil Roams will be coming out. We'll be able to make an announcement soon about where that will be coming out.
Okay.
And then we shot a film in Serbia last year called Hellhole, which you might find interesting. The monster was created by Todd Masters, who's been around forever. Like has out of everything.
I feel like I've heard that name before. I just can't think of why.
If you look him up, he's just done so much. And so he created a beautiful monster for us, his team, and that'll be coming out this year too. Hellhole. That's a Shudder original. So that'll be on Shudder.
So that's a Shudder original.
Uh-huh.
That's what I was actually going to ask you. I saw the Shudder logo on Hellbender. Did it say Shudder original or Shudder exclusive for Hellbender?
They bought it, so it's a Shudder original.
Or Shudder original.
Made it, and we made it, and then they bought it immediately.
Gotcha.
So it was theirs right from the start. So they just put their stamp on it, and they were very, very, very nice to us as a family. They just treated us as what we were, which is 4 people.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if it was a Shudder original, how was it working with Shudder? Because I love Shudder. I think they do some great work for the horror community. They do a really good job for people who are new to horror. You can go to Shudder and kind of it's really the only streaming service where you can get educated about horror throughout their system. So I was just curious. So did you got a chance to work with them? How was it? I'm assuming it was great.
It was great.
It was great. So Hellbender, we had made it. It was all done, signed, sealed, and delivered, and they bought it, and they treated us really, really well. They just helped us so much, and they were really nice to us. And then because of Hellbender, they asked us if we had anything else, and then they put up all the money in the production for this called Hellhole.
Awesome.
Nice.
Which really quick, I want to mention Todd Masters. I'm really excited right now because I do know why I know his name. I love the fucking movie Fido. It's so fucking good.
Yeah.
He worked on that. He worked on Slither. He worked on Haunting in Connecticut. So you guys definitely got a fucking top-notch guy as far. Fido is one of my favorite movies. It's one of the most underrated zombie movies that nobody knows about, but it's so goddamn good. So that makes me even more excited about your new film.
Slither's
great,
especially for creature effects. Slither is fantastic, so I'm excited to see the monster he made for you guys. Hell yeah!
It's cool, and this is from a script that Lulu conjured up, and then John and I got to go over and shoot it in Serbia, so it was very fun.
Yeah, Lulu wrote it, and Shudder loved it, so they bought it.
Lulu, can you give us a snippet of what it's gonna be, or are we totally top secret right now?
I think we've been saying kind of about it is it's more like an ode to old style horror, right? We were calling it a creature feature.
Okay.
Yes, I
I like
love
that.
creature features.
It's real fun. And Serbia just does so much for it. It's like a fucking awesome setting. And all of this Serbian crew too in it. It's awesome. It's great.
That's
And
rad.
one of the things that Lulu did that's really fun about it is she took the 80s kind of monster movie with all those tropes, turned it right on its head, and let it loose. When you see it, you will understand what I'm talking about.
I like it.
So it's like we're hoping that the horror audience is like the Shudder audience and the horror audience. If they're looking for a twist to the monster movie, they are gonna get it.
I like it.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I know. Okay, we need to stop talking about it because I'm gonna want to watch it like right now. So
So typically at the end of our episodes when we have guests on, we ask if you'd like to leave us with any kind of parting words, words of wisdom, anything at all. Feel free to just chime in.
I think you all should get the Creep Show tattoo on your head.
Lulu,
I've
you're
got
100%
room.
right.
yeah, my forehead's pretty big, so I could probably do it.
We lost
Yeah.
a fan.
They do the Irish goodbye.
I'm famous for it.
Probably lost service because we live in the middle of nowhere.
That's right.
Yeah,
Well, we
you
have
never
you
drive
still,
into
Lulu,
town.
so
Sorry for 'em.
you can give us the parting words.
No, I know exactly what they'll say. They'll just want to say thank you guys so much for all the compliments and for knowing so much about the movie. Like that always just makes us feel so good. And having people who want to see our movies up next is
I've watched it 3
Yay.
times since it came out.
oh, they'll love it. That's so
When
nice.
Awesome.
If I say I'm a fan, I'm really a fan.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so
We-
sweet.
We don't beat around the bush. If we didn't like something, you would know we didn't like it. And it's
We wouldn't be here.
Exactly.
Get out
Well,
of
Exactly.
here.
I mean, I don't know if you remember,
No.
Lulu, but at Crypticon, like as soon as I saw you, I'm like, like,
I
come
know.
talk to me about Hellbender.
Talk to me about Hellbender.
Yeah. So we really appreciate you guys coming on, and hopefully once the new film comes out, you guys will come back and we can talk about that because
Yes.
you guys are a joy to have on the show for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks so much
I
for coming.
definitely want to talk about the next movie. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope you guys like it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sure. If it's anything like the quality of Hellbender, I'm sure we'll all be drooling at the mouths.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Lulu. We appreciate you coming on, and thank you the rest of the family for us. And we'll look forward. Well, we're gonna have everyone go see Hellbender on Shudder right now, and then
Right.
we're gonna stay tuned to the Addams Family because there's a lot of good stuff coming.
Hell yeah.
Thanks
Awesome.
so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you, Lulu. You have a great week. Well, what's left of your weekend?
Got it. Thank
Bye,
you.
Lulu.
Bye, Lulu.
Bye. So that was awesome.
Awesome.
Oh
That
wait,
was super fun.
they're
Oh, wait.
back.
Wow.
That
Surprise.
was our word of wisdom.
We heard you like to give the Irish goodbye. So
Exactly. That was the best Irish goodbye ever. But now we're doing a not Irish goodbye.
My phone totally overheated. It's really hard to call now because the phone just died. Oh my god.
well, we just wanted to thank you guys for coming on. Lulu's still here. We'll bring her back with us.
I
But
Hello again.
but just since we have you guys here for another second, do you have any parting words of wisdom for us?
I just want to say it's really cool to go to a place like Crypticon and meet wonderful people like you, and then you welcome us onto your show, and that is the most beautiful thing, and we're very grateful and love you.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Aw.
much. It was
Oh, we love you too.
and that's what we were talking about earlier, just how the horror community supports one another. And I think that it's important, especially like we're a small podcast, so being able to get people like you guys on our show is huge for
That's
us.
a big deal for
Yeah,
us.
it
Yeah.
really is. And so we really appreciate you guys spending the time with us and talking about your films and life. And as we told Lulu, when the next film comes out, if you're not like Tarantino famous, maybe you'll come back on and we can talk about the new film as well.
We're never going to be famous. And so we can't wait to get back.
You'd
Put us
never
on your
say
calendar.
never, brother.
You're pretty
to
famous
me.
to me.
Famous to me. Right here. I got the Addams Family right here in my heart.
That's right.
Yeah,
But,
thank you guys. It's super
thank you
generous.
so much.
Really generous of you.
And all the luck to you guys in the world, and we'll be standing by waiting for more from the Addams Family.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
so
you.
much.
You guys have a great
you.
weekend.
See you.
Dude,
All
great
right.
show. I love
Great
the Addams
show.
family.
Yes.
I love
Thanks.
Hellbender. I
Yes.
can't wait for
Dude.
more good stuff from those guys.
Oh yeah, I've already got a watch list. I'm
Excellent.
gonna check out the other stuff on Shudder. I'm super excited for the next movie to drop. Definitely need
sure.
to get them back on the shows. Sweet fucking family. I love how tight knit they are. You don't see that anymore these days, right? With families, it's just like everybody's just go in their own little world.
Right.
Like I just love
that they keep it so tight knit.
Yeah, and you know it's funny because there's other filmmakers that have children in film, right? For example, the Cronenbergs, right? David Cronenberg's son Brandon, he does film, but they don't do stuff together, right? They grow up like the dad's in film, the son grows up and is in film too, but they don't work on films together. You know, everything's separate. With the Addams family, I love that they just, you know, they got the mother, father in film, but the daughters are right there with them. Like,
right.
Not creating their own films, but creating films with their parents. And
right.
You just don't see that. And there's just something magical and special about that. And it's fucking awesome.
You know what else is magical and special?
Us.
Tomorrow we have a show with none other than Peter Anthony, creator, writer, director, porn star from Roseblood, a Friday the 13th fan film.
I'm excited.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one too.
This has been an overwhelming weekend. I mean, we had a fantastic podcast yesterday. Wasn't ours. We were guests on Around the Wheel. Fucking awesome. I loved it. We had an amazing show today. And then we have an amazing show tomorrow. By the end of tomorrow, I'm just going to be burnt out.
You're going to be done talking to people.
Yeah, right.
I love you guys. I'm going to let you
I
get
love you
back to
too.
your Sunday.
Yes. I'm going to go paint some shit.
Go see Hellbender on Shudder.
Yes.
And we expect a review from you on our comments. And that's it.
That's
Until
all,
tomorrow. Until tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
We love you.
This week's episode of the Zompire Horde podcast is brought to you by Bloody Knuckle Customs. Come check us out at www.bloodyknucklecustoms.com.
What's going on?